I think I have even more questions about the other side.
Yeah.
Bucs offense, Chiefs D, if you're ready to go there.
I'm ready to go.
Let's start out first quarter. While Kansas City was piling up the big plays offensively, they were getting after Brady, and it was like watching a different team.
Right.
Same personnel, basically, but it was nothing but incompletions and punts in that first quarter. And then all of a sudden it's 17-0. The game's not over, but Kansas City's dictated the way it has to be played.
Definitely.
What happened in that first quarter where Tampa Bay's offense was just so inept?
Well, I think the biggest thing was just the pressure, the looks. I mean, really, the game come down. I mean, when we just had to boil it down to one thing, I would go, Kansas City played vanilla, Brady good. Kansas City played exotic and blitz, Brady bad.
First and second down too, right?
First and second down. They were doing it all early on in the game. They had Brady confused, flinching, not sure. He thinks he's going to throw hot to Cameron Brate over the middle. Nobody blitzed. They dropped out. He almost throws an interception. It's that stuff. Where Kansas City dropped the ball, in my opinion, is they got to that 17-0 lead, and all of a sudden they went, all right, let's play bend, don't break, and do all that stuff. And they let Tampa get into a rhythm and get going that way. That was really where I at least saw the biggest change as far as how the game went for, Kansas City's up 17-0 on the 8-yard line, and it's first and goal on the 8. And you're going, if you just watched the game and didn't know anything that went on after, you'd go, they're going to fucking blow them out. They're dominating the game, both sides of the ball. You're sitting there going, they're going to win 49-7.
Had that feel to it.
It did.
Yeah.
Of course, that was a big play in the game.
The fumble.
And then the fumble, and then just what I thought Kansas City kind of taking the conservative approach for a few series after that.
Pete, I think we have a graphic, Brady under pressure, week 12. There we go. So under pressure, 4 out of 10, struggled. Threw a couple of picks. It was, like I said, incompletions and punts for those first 3 or 4 possessions.
Right.
No pressure, though. He was really, really good.
And I think that's where, again, I think Tampa's realized that since then. They do a great job of protecting him.
Yeah.
They really do. We've talked about so much about keeping the extra linemen in, the tight ends in to block, do those type of things.
That's where they're different.
That's where they're different.
Compared to then. So,
Definitely.
I would expect Kansas City and Spagnuolo to come out aggressive.
Right.
Because they had that success. But Tampa Bay's response might be different now because Leonard Fournette, in the 3 playoff wins, he has double-digit carries. He didn't have 3 games in a row like that all season.
Right.
You throw in the passing game, he's averaging 20 touches a game. So that's the difference with what they're doing. How do you think that'll affect the early part of the game now that they can lean a little bit more on Fournette?
No, that to me, I think, is one of the big questions of the football game. Is just, can Tampa have some success running the football? Last game, you're going to look at the stats and go, whoa, well, Ronald Jones had 9 for 66. And you're going, it was one run. Everything else didn't look that great.
When it mattered early, the run game was a non-factor.
No, and that's exactly right. That's the way to put it. When it mattered early, it was a non-factor. When they were playing pass and, we know they're going to catch up, they gashed them on a few runs. But that will be a key to the game to me. Because can they run the ball? Can they force Spags and company to start going, wait, I wanted to bring all these cool blitzes and find ways to get 4-man rushes but still expose them like it's a blitz and do all of that, where if they're having to worry about the smash mouth run game, that's going to change things. And then it's going to, of course, open up play action pass and get a little scary that way. That will be a big part of the football game. And I think something that like Tampa Bay's definitely got to lean on a little bit if they want to win this game.
How much of an equalizer can that be for Tampa Bay?
Well, I think the big thing is, like we showed on that graphic, and I think like we've talked about even last week a little bit, and the 5 losses with Brady this year, pressure has been the issue.
Yeah.
And just like we saw in the NFC Championship game, it was the bad plays were all pressure related.
His worst pick.
Right. Was somebody got free, I just got to throw it up. Right.
Yeah.
So, I think that's where it can really affect the football game. But I think the biggest thing, too, is it'll take away some of the exotic nature of what Spags wants to do. And that's one of their great advantages. Spags is a great game planner that way. But as I sit here, and as much respect as I have for Fournette and these big fuckers on this Tampa Bay O-line, I can't sit here and tell you with confidence they're going to be able to move these big fuckers on Kansas City's D-line either. I can't. That's where this matchup is intriguing to me there. Where I can say, I think this has got an advantage in this matchup and that matchup. I'm not sure who has the advantage in that matchup. But I do think that'll, not that they have to rush for 100 yards, but if they can have a day where it's, hey, they ran the ball 18 or 20 times and they flirted with 100 yards rushing,
Yeah.
then I would say, then we might have a shootout type of game and both teams are scoring points because now play action and Brady to Gronk and Evans and everything else is wide open. He's going to be gashing your ass.
It feels like to me they've really embraced that identity because in addition, and this is in the playoff wins, the last 3 games, in addition to what they've done with Fournette, in the 2 games Ronald Jones has played, he's also in double-digit carries. So, like, that part of the game is coming early.
Yes.
Whether Kansas City can stop it or not. I'd be really surprised if they didn't go to that right away on those first 2 or 3 possessions.
I would think there's definitely going to be some sort of attitude, you know.
It's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
And we're going to enforce our attitude on you. Where I would just get scared a little. Like, you want to establish that, but don't go overboard with it to where you go, okay, now we're in 3rd and 10, both of our first 2 series, and they've scored a touchdown twice, and we tried to start the run game and do that. So they do have to find the right blend early. But I think that is a real aspect of the game and a good question, and I think the run game is certainly more important for the Bucs than it is the Chiefs.
Nice of you to bring up 3rd down and 10, because I have a note that I wanted to go there.
Yeah.
Thinking back to how Tampa Bay won at Lambeau last week, they were so good on 3rd down. It wasn't just 3rd and 2s. Like early, they were hitting those
3rd and 9s
longs.
and 3rd and 8s.
Yeah.
Right.
So thinking about if they can do that again, because those situations will show up. At Josh Love 81 asks, what will Spags do to try and confuse Brady? And if I can walk you down an even more specific road, thinking about 3rd medium, 3rd and long.
Sure. Spags is, in the Kansas City Chiefs defense, for my opinion, has 2 of the top-notch things I could just say from scheming an offense that I love. One is they're one of the best disguising teams in football, like we've talked about. They're so crazy that way, and Spags has great. I mean, that's how he beat Brady and the Patriots in 2007. It's just all the disguises and things. You go back and watch that film, you just go, whoa, some of that stuff he did was crazy.
So some of that is applicable?
Definitely.
Applicable to now?
It is applicable. And not that it means offense to offense is the same, but I don't care who you are and how long you've played quarterback, just like we saw in the first matchup. Spags is creative enough to trick Tom Brady. He did it a few times in this game. He did it a few times the first time around where he rushed 4 and got people not blocked, and Tom Brady was the quarterback. 4 people, Brady had 6 people blocking and still got exposed. So that just shows you how good he is at disguising or showing you a false clue on one side, and you go, oh, the blitz is coming over there. It's got to be. There's no way it can be coming over here. And then all of a sudden you get ready to say set hut, and he found some creative way to blitz off the other side and still cover and do all of that. So that is where the Chiefs are great. And what are the Chiefs, Pete, if you could look it up just league-wide on 3rd down? I would imagine they are great. But so the disguises, of course, are great. And then the other thing is that other part I just talked about. He is a magician at finding ways to rush 4 or 5 and get somebody free, like not blocked. Even though you have the amount of people to block, like numbers for numbers, I can go, well, we got 5 guys to block. We can block these 5 guys. But they'll find a creative way to get one free. And that's where they're special. And then also, he's not afraid to just lay it on the line and go, it's 3rd and 4.
Right.
Fuck you. I'm blitzing everybody. You want to try to throw a deep post route or go route? Go ahead. I don't know if you'll complete it, but I'm not going to let you throw a 6-yard completion over the middle. And he'll either all-out blitz or they kind of rush 5 and somebody drops out over the middle to stop a quick throw over the middle and do things like that. That's where Spags is really great on 3rd down. And, Pete, I would think that they're one of the better 3rd down defenses in football. Am I correct? 17th. Okay, not as good as I would have thought there. I would have thought a little bit better. But where the Chiefs also have really improved from compared to then to now is, one, they're healthier in the back end. And L'Jarius Sneed, who we talked about, to me has really changed the dynamic of their secondary because, man, now when they get in dime defense and you got him, Breeland, Charvarius Ward, who can all play man-to-man. But now you got these 3 other guys in Thornhill, Matthew, and Sorensen, and you just don't know where they're going to go or what they're going to do. And is it going to be some man coverage where they're doubling a guy, or are they going to disguise? And I thought it was man, and now everybody's playing zone. That's where L'Jarius Sneed and this Chiefs defense has gotten better from this Week 12 matchup, and that can certainly play in the Chiefs' advantage too.
Other side, it's always fun to compare in these kind of games. We spent time talking about how nearly impossible it is to take care of Hill and Kelsey with that combination.
Yeah.
So in the passing game for the Bucs, you've got Evans.
Yep.
Who is the second part of that?
Right.
I know Godwin's the obvious answer, but who
Right.
is the second guy that you're kind of comboing with? You're like, man, we have got to stop those two, because on the other side, you know it's Kelsey and
Yeah. You know it's going to be Evans is always going to have a main focal point as far as they're going to call a lot of plays to him. If it is one-on-one, they favor on working him. Now, yeah, the other guys, to me, yes, it's Godwin is that second guy, but it's not by like the Kelsey Hill way.
Right.
I feel the way they play right now, Scotty Miller's not too far behind Goodwin as far in the pecking order as far as where they want to get the ball and do things like that.
Gronk got him last game. Brate's been good recently.
Gronk got him last game. They got in some of those traditional coverages where they played zone and got vanilla there, and they just ran play actions, and the linebackers sucked up, and they hit them behind. That's where I want to go with Kansas City. Like, none of that shit this time. None of that. You got to keep the pedal on the metal and be exotic and different looks every play, the whole game. You can't get into that. And what was the original question? Who do you stop? Where do you go there?
It's a real obvious setup for the other side,
Right.
with Hill and Kelsey.
Right.
So for Tampa Bay, you have Evans, and who's that next guy, the 1A or the 2 that you're most worried about if you're Spags?
It's still Godwin. I think, but it's not to the level of Kelsey and Hill. It definitely is not with the way they use. You got to be careful with that other group of guys. That's kind of the beauty, of Tampa is. Godwin's 2, but it's like, hey, Scotty Miller's 2A, Gronkowski's 2B, and then Antonio Brown's 2C. They'll all use them in that similar role.
And 2 tights?
And 2 tight ends with Cameron Brate, certainly. So I guess I'm saying Godwin.
Yeah.
I would guess I'm saying that. And I think they'll do some of that. They're a team that you get down in the red zone. I don't know who. I would bet you when they get in the red zone, they're going to think Evans and Gronk, and they're going to try to take their chances on Godwin
Brady
one-on-one.
will be probably under center.
I would think so.
The threat of the run as well.
You would see some of that, but the one thing I was impressed with watching it back, and this kind of hit me as I was watching, how good Brashad Breeland covered Mike Evans. That was one thing that they felt, you could tell Kansas City felt comfortable with that matchup. And, you forget Brashad Breeland, he played in the NFC South with the Carolina Panthers and probably has a good feel for Mike Evans' game and what he does. Wait, no, I'm wrong. He played for the Washington football team, Breeland. I'm totally wrong there with that thought.
Right.
So he didn't go. He almost signed with Carolina.
Okay.
But either way, he did very good in the matchup part of playing man-to-man football on Mike Evans.
We talked about Kansas City's offensive line being the weakness on that side.
Right.
Kansas City's defense, D-line, linebacker, DBs, any weaknesses that Tampa Bay can try and expose?
The thing that I think, honestly, I don't look at it in one glaring weakness. When I would really look at Kansas City, and even in this matchup a lot of the times, I looked a lot of the good that the Bucs did on offense, and I don't, again, I looked at it more like the Chiefs messed it up, or the Chiefs did stuff that they don't normally do, and I don't know why they played this way. That's where the game is really intriguing to me. The game was close, 27-24. But as we talked about, it was this close from being an absolute annihilation.
Yeah.
And I could see the Bucs winning a close game. I could see the Chiefs winning the close game. I could see the Chiefs blowing the Bucs out. I can't see the Bucs blowing the Chiefs out. I just think that's the one way. That's the one angle I don't see happening in the football game.
These two teams played 10 times. How many times does Kansas City win?
Well, I don't know if you saw my notes there at the end, and I'm going to get them because I'll just read them. But one of the last things I wrote was I feel like after watching backs, I feel the same feeling I had after watching Bucs-Packers. Whereas I came away from watching Bucs-Packers regular season matchup, and Pete will say this, and I wrote it on my original notes even back then during the matchup, that I felt like the Bucs would win that game 9 out of 10 times. And I felt like I have a similar feeling in this one. Not to say it's necessarily 9 out of 10, which I did write 9 out of 10, but I think it's up there.
Yeah.
I do. I think the Bucs certainly have to play more of a perfect game than Kansas City does to win this football game.
Right.
Yeah.
This is where I would like to be able to push back and say, I think they'd win half the times, but maybe 7. But I mean, to me, it all begins with how do you even begin to stop the Hill, Kelsey, Mahomes, what they're going to do pre-snap, what they're going to do during the play. And
yes.
I can't come up with too many formulas or too many scenarios where I see Tampa Bay's defense getting the best of that. Even though I think offensively they're much better than what they were when they were struggling when the game mattered most last time. It's the other side of it that it's hard to picture Tampa Bay doing that well.
I tend to agree with that side, especially with it sounds like Sammy Watkins is going to play and McCole Hardman, of course. I think when they have that group there, that's when they almost become unstoppable, especially with the way they're playing on the offensive side of the ball. And really, yeah, I think that Bucs D, realistically, and I know I'm not picking the game here, but I guess everybody can be able to tell which way I'm leaning here. I do. I think the Bucs D is going to have to make a play or two for them to win the football game. I don't think it can just go no turnovers, both teams played clean. I think that's definitely the Chiefs win the game.
I think they win 10 out of 10.
Right,
there.
that way. It's got to be something that way. And one thing I'll say, too, you just talk about the Chiefs and that D-line and what they got to worry about with the Bucs and their offense tackle. Listen, don't forget this. Mahomes in that snap count, that's another thing I'm going to be watching here early on in this game. He's going to use that snap count to not let them get off and be crazy early on. I would be shocked if that's not part of the repertoire and Andy Reid in his ear kind of reminding him to do that.
Fun question here from @Ken Rafferty. Chris, love the show. Fun question. Swap quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. Brady is now with Kansas City, and Mahomes is with the Bucs. Who wins?
Ooh, that is a great question. That really is. Ooh, Mahomes is just such a game changer to me. I just have a hard time.
I thought you were going to bite and go with Brady.
I know. I mean, I do think about Brady in Kansas City. He certainly can throw the ball down the field, and he'll be able to pick apart with all the short passing game and stuff they have. He'll be phenomenal there.
Yeah.
Where I just worry about it really comes down to one thing. Like I said, the playmaking ability, and it's going to be hard to hide the offensive line deficiencies with Brady at quarterback.
You say playmaking ability like outside
Like just be able to get out of the pocket, avoid people. All right, the sprint out game's gone. That's not going to be available.
Right.
So you have to play the game a little more of a traditional set with Brady. And the way the Chiefs' line is right now, I think that would be the negative there.
What if the spread say the spread stays the same? Quarterbacks change. I think it's 3.5.
The spread stays the same and the quarterbacks change.
Quarterbacks change,
I'm good. I would go with Mahomes. I guess is what I'm telling you is I'm following Mahomes here. Yes,
wow.
I am.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Pete, I thought we had him. I love that you pulled that question out. Okay, @Max, what is Max's last name? Mulcahy? Mulcahey. Okay.
Yeah.
Max.
Yeah.
Mulcahy. We'll go with Max.
Yeah.
Remember, I'm the guy who said Matt the W. So these last names.
We know.
It can be tough on me. If you were playing quarterback, would you take the Chiefs' offensive weapons or the Bucs' offensive weapons?
Man, this is a good one. Like I watched Cam Jordan last night, the New Orleans Saints defensive end, right? He was on like one of the NFL channel Super Bowl shows.
He's everywhere. He's good.
And they asked him that question because he played both teams this year. He took the Bucs.
He'd rather have the Bucs.
He says he thought the Bucs. He thought the running backs put them over the edge. And that the fact that they have 2 real good tight ends. So it is, man, it's really close. It is really close. I think as a total unit, the Bucs is better.
Yeah.
As a total unit, yes.
Right.
I think their O-line is a better pass protecting O-line, better run game O-line. I think the only, 1 for 1, okay, I'm taking Tyreek Hill over any receiver. Definitely.
Yeah. Would you rather have
but
one
then I'm
Kelsey?
going Evans over Kelsey as my next weapon, I think.
Go.
But it's close.
Would you take Kelsey or would you take the combo of Brayton Gronkowski? You can have one of those two things.
I would take Kelsey. I think
You'd
I
still
would.
take Kelsey?
I would.
Okay.
I would. It's a tough, man, that's a tough one, but I would. Kelsey, the way he plays right now, it's just, that's too special. It's a really close one. Either way, like, I don't want to hear, this theme's gone. You don't need good receivers to go to the Super Bowl. You don't need good weapons. You don't need to have the best receiver in football to go to the Super Bowl.
Sure helps.
Well, we know you don't need to, just like you don't need to have a top 5 quarterback to get to the Super Bowl either. But it certainly helps. And hey, listen, you could say you want X's and O's, blah, blah, blah. Look at all the fucking Jimmies and the Joes in this game. It's talented football teams. It's players that got them here, with the coaching helping out the players, use all their talents.
Thinking of coaching even more, and this is my would you rather. I'm not pulling this one off of our Ask Me Anything. Would you rather have 2 weeks to sit down and get in with the game plan with Byron Leftwich, played quarterback in the league? He's going to be in with you those entire 2 weeks. Doesn't have to run the whole team.
Right.
Or would you rather have Andy Reid as your play caller?
Gosh.
Because Andy's got a lot of shit to do.
He does. He does. He does. He's done a lot of shit to do. He's the head coach.
He's the CEO.
Yes. So, you got to let Eric Bieniemy at times just go, hey, you got to run the meeting here. I can't be involved in this. Man, these are good questions, because I would love to play in either one of these offenses.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
It would be oh my gosh, it's just a quarterback's dream. They believe in doing everything through the quarterback, making them look good with cool plays, easy plays, whatever it is. I guess still I'd go with Andy Reid at this point.
So what? Yeah.
He's just a fucking legend, right? That's why. And I'm a huge Byron Leftwich fan.
Right.
I really am. I'm rooting for him and Bruce Arians. That would be really cool to be around.
Yeah.
But I guess I just want to, this play and these fucking calls and everything they got.
It's fun to think about all that.
It is fun, like when you hear some of the names they have and things too.
It's also fun to think about a guy who's got nothing else to do but put the game plan together, and just played in the league for 10 years himself.
I know.
And clearly they get along pretty well.
Definitely. And then him and Bruce together, and just the freewheeling, good, truthful talk out of those two, would be amazing.
And it would be entertaining, right?
Oh my gosh. Leftwich and Bruce.
The entertainment level.
There'll be no secrets,
terrific.
that's for sure.
Pete, you just said something in my ear, which is always a fun thing to say.
Pete, did I miss anything in my notes? Anything?
What am I looking at, Pete?
He sent you a text. He says it's in your text.
He sent me a text. Okay.
But you
need to filibuster right now.
I will
while
filibuster. I wanted to ask Pete if there was anything you thought that I missed, but I think we really hit the most part. But that to me, we talked about the Bucs offense. Their ability to run the ball, I think, is key, because it stops the Spags' exotic nature, and of course
in my Chris Simms school of looking at offensive football, Brady's been under center a lot more because of their running game being more prominent.
There's no doubt. And that's when they're the most dangerous.
Exactly.
Because Brady can throw those throws down the field. And then, as we said, just to wrap that up, Kansas City on the offensive side of the ball, hey, no 2 tight end sets, none of that crap, no 3 tight end sets. You put your best 11 on the field, you make them shake in the boots with Mahomes in the shotgun and all these weapons and all these plays you got. And to me, that would be the way you go down if you're the Kansas City Chiefs.
So Pete says, digging deeper, Kansas City defense 17th in third down conversions this season. They were 6th on 3rd and long, which is 7 or more.
Yeah,
so that comes into the confusion, and then Spags doing his thing best.
That's exactly it. When he gets you there, and you definitely have to throw.
Yes.
And I don't have to maybe worry about the 3 or 4 yard throw over the middle, and can worry about some of the other, just a hair down the field. He's amazing.
Right.
And that's, again, where the run game will come into key. And to me, like we've talked about, it's just the one weakness Brady has in his game right now. That's the only weakness. It's just when he feels people around him, he can do erratic things.
He might throw it up for grabs.
He might throw it up for grabs. It's his only thing that he does wrong. Everything else is top notch, but yes, it can be erratic as far as the decisions at times when people are around him.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.